I mean, seriously? That no, I'll do it. I'll do it. Gamera, Gamera, you are wonderful. Gamera, you are wonderful. Gamera, you are wonderful. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Shadow the sun, evil's rainbow. Frozen monster dare to march. Jumped, flew, go, go, go. Destroy with jet flame, here goes Gamera. So cool, Gamera. So cool, Gamera. So cool, Gamera. Okay, seriously, these are the lyrics to the Gamera song. There really might not be a god. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too bad. It's just too bad of a movie. I can't do it. Yeah, just a little more. A little more. Yeah, no, I can still feel. Good evening, Kaiju fans. Welcome back. Pull up a seat, grab a drink, because you all know what's about to happen right now. That's right, I'm about to get nice and toasty and talk to my camera for 30 minutes. Anyway, so recently, during a fun little field trip to Walmart, I came across this lovely item. Ooh, yes. Um, this is all the films of Gamera save Gamera the Brave. And it was 10 freaking dollars at Walmart. If you were a kaiju fan about 5, 6 years ago, finding a lot of the Heisei Gamera series, even the ADV dubs, was hard and expensive. Finding Japanese versions of the Showa series, difficult and expensive. And all of it just pops up at $10 at Walmart. Whew. The universe works in mysterious ways, folks. Anyway, being the complete masochist that I am, I decided, Christian, you really need to go back to the Showa period of Gamera. You really need to dive back in and take another crack at that, because Zigra went so well. Let's try it again. But not just a film review. No, folks, we're going all out tonight. We will be doing a compare and contrast between Gamera versus Barugon. I'm calling him Beragon. Deal with it. And Gamera versus Jiger. Since Daiei doesn't really put a lot of effort into these, I'm going to put a lot of effort in my reviews. I believe Beragon were in 66, and I think Jiger is 1970. Correct me if you want to. Okay, really? Do we have to go into this? Do we have to do... Okay, to start off our compare and contrast tonight, let's just dive in right away with our two new kaiju. And I hear the fan base compare these two a lot, so I thought it was good two films to compare here. So in this corner we have Barugon, who shoots ice out of its projectile like gecko tongue it has. And since that's not crazy enough, it has a rainbow beam. Yes, it looks like a rainbow, and it just arcs miles and miles to wherever the arc needs to go. You got some missiles to get rid of, you want to blow up a city block, Baragon's got you covered with his evil rainbow, and it just eviscerates everything as if nothing was ever there. In this corner we have Jiger, who kind of looks like a cross between like some sort of iguana and maybe a triceratops of some sort. And Jiger, really, if we're comparing who is the better Gamera villain, and remember, folks, when we're comparing Gamera villains here, it can't be practical, it can't be logical, it can't be remotely plausible. The ideal Gamera villain is the fever dream of somebody who has done 20 years of LSD, and Jiger, I think, really does knock it out of the park here. Um, the similarities, they're both quadrupeds, they both crawl around on all fours, they both very much look like kind of practical in their design lizards, dinosaurs. But Jiger, okay, so Jiger has poison dart things it can shoot, or tusks, I guess, it can shoot out of her face. That's an important thing I need to remember here. Jiger is a female kaiju. Kind of fun and interesting. So we got poison darts. We have a poison like scorpion tail that injects parasites into other kaiju. We have like a vacuum suction thing that Jiger can do with her claws. And it's not just like her claws become sticky and she's Spider-Man crawling up a building. No, she can like suck a giant boulder from across the battlefield into her claw. Yeah. Oh, what else? Not enough, you say? Not enough crazy weapons and attacks? Well, Jiger has like a heat beam, which is actually sound waves that move really quickly and create a heat effect that, not unlike Beragon's rainbow beam, just obliterates things. Just arcs over, and there's a crater where this beam hits. Oh boy, they really... Daiei loves these kind of kaiju. And it's part of the charm, I'm going to use charm as the adjective here, to these monsters. Design-wise, I do like both of these kaiju in design sense. I tend to be a fan who likes kind of the practical, more like earthly monsters. Like I really like my Anguirus, my Rodan, Beragon, Toho's Beragon, even Gorosaurus. Like I like these monsters that almost seem kind of plausible in their designs. And both Barugon and Jiger have kind of a nice effect in that sense, that they really do look like an animal you could see. But man, their weapons and their backstory and everything just turns them into the craziest freaking... I mean, like, really, if you're watching any film in the Showa series, I can't recommend substance abuse enough. If you have some shrooms, if you have anything, take it now, because it's going to make the next hour and a half so much easier. So I think the next element to cover here in our compare and contrast, let's get into the plots a little bit here. It's a Gamera film, so the plot is just going to boil your eyeballs out of your head. That said, I think both of these films tend to be the more successful films in the Gamera franchise, in the Showa period of the franchise. And for a few reasons. I think just the consistency as far as plotting goes, as far as human action goes, special effects, noticeably better than where the rest of the series lands. I'll give an honorable mention to Gamera vs. Gauss, because Gauss does kind of become... He's like the King Ghidorah of the Gamera franchise. He's kind of the big bad, and that's not a totally unenjoyable film, but it does, in my opinion, it tends to be sloppier compared to these two. So let's start with Barugon. This tends to be the fan favorite, and it's understandable. It is the one breath of fresh air in the Showa period, and it's very confusing. It's a baffling entry in the series. It doesn't involve kids. No kids. It's a Gamera Showa period. No kids anywhere, not even guest appearances of kids in the background, nothing. Which is fascinating considering that Gamera the Invincible, the film that kicks off this franchise, right away we had kids. We started this franchise very much with the idea of marketing to that audience, and it's bizarre. It's not just bizarre because there's a lack of kids, it's also bizarre because it is arguably the darkest Gamera film in the whole Showa period. The human element with all these adult characters is very unsettling actually in the first half hour of the film is it's not friendly, it's not kid friendly in the least. It's violent, it's morbid, it's just fascinating what a radical departure it is. And then the next film, I believe, is Gauss, and we're right back to the kids and kind of the goofy, sloppy plotting. It's interesting. But one of the things you have to credit Gamera versus Barugon is it sets the template. It kind of crystallizes what the whole Gamera series becomes. Gamera's adversaries are never in the vein of, say, Rodan or Anguirus, that they just happen to be causing destruction and happen to be causing problems. Gamera's adversaries are deliberately evil. They want to cause chaos, they want to destroy cities, they want to kill and eat people. We also get like these weird moments of just like kind of scientific mumbo jumbo, like they're trying to give you a strong scientific answer for why this weapon will work or this plot device will work. And usually it's kind of forced and awkward. I suppose another element with Gamera films tends to just be really random, forced, painfully executed exposition, backstory to the monster, plot elements that would have made so much more sense if you'd set them up in the first 10 minutes of the film. I mean, with Beragon, we get suddenly this whole myth about dropping a diamond into the ocean, and now Beragon is attracted to diamonds. Only this Barugon isn't, because he was mutated by infrared lights. Oh, and the rainbow beam that I mentioned that annihilates everything, guess what it doesn't annihilate? Mirrors. Mirrors. Which, I'm no scientist, but frankly, if I remember anything, like the molecular structure of a mirror, not as solid as maybe some of the metals in an army tank or a missile silo. But for what? Okay, whatever. Mirrors. Can't destroy mirrors. And it's just kind of plopped there awkwardly out of the blue. Oh boy. Oh boy. Anyway, you have to give Beragon some credit here. It is, like I said, it's the template. So the plot points I was discussing about what Beragon is just confusing. It's a very dark film. I mean, even before the film kicks off, one of our main characters is a former I don't know, you'd say like a victim of a prisoner of war camp. He's crippled, he has like leg issues, so he can't go on this quest to find this opal he found in the jungle. And so these other people, our main protagonist is a helicopter pilot. Sorry guys, I told you I didn't do my homework. I didn't care, so I'm not going to care. So we have this helicopter pilot who flies them there from the ship. They go to find the opal, and then we have the bad guy of the group who secretly wants to kill everybody so that he can keep all the money. And boy, kill people does he ever. The scorpion sting sequence, the one dude is poisoned by a scorpion, and he like screams and hollers for like 4 minutes. It is not a quick, cute death the way you get with some kaiju films. And then he like freezes up like some sort of decrepit mummy. Like, it's a pretty brutal sequence, in all honesty, for a series that was supposed to be marketed at kids, for where kaiju films are in the 60s. There's a lot of really brutal scenes throughout this film. I mean, later on, the same guy who lets the scorpion sting happen, he meets up with the guy who discovered the opal in the first place. He bashes his wife's head with a vase, knocks her out. He topples a file cabinet on top of the dude, and then later it's just randomly slipped into the plot that both those people burned to death, burned alive in their apartment during the monster fight. Just a cute little plot point there. I mean, and there's several like fight sequences, and it's not like well choreographed like karate. No, it's like drunken, angry brawls going on here. It's just a baffling moment in the Gamera franchise, and I think it's why the fan base tends to kind of sink their teeth into this one, because it isn't as cute and kid-friendly. And I appreciate that. And honestly, the first 25 minutes with the jungle scenes and the expedition and everything, relatively interesting, relatively well executed, and again, for what you're seeing in 60s kaiju films, pretty standard and even a little innovative in smart ways. But the latter half of the movie, once Beragon shows up, not so much. Clumsy, random exposition out of the blue, uh, and the script, the actual structure of the script, is what just drives me crazy here. Very clumsy, very awkward. I mean, the so we have the helicopter pilot who okay, I gotta pause because this plot hole drives me crazy. The whole reason they needed a helicopter pilot was to fly them from the ship to the island. And then evil dude in the group allegedly kills him with a grenade in the cave, right? Thinks he's dead. And yet, somehow still gets back to the ship. Okay, did he know how to captain the helicopter? I'm assuming not. Was the helicopter just left on the island? Did the ship steer off course to come pick him up? How does he get back to the ship? Ooh, I mean, there's a lot of awkward moments like that, and I mean, the natives are handled decently, except for the one main female protagonist who's supposed to be a native on this island, but just doesn't look like any of the other natives do. And I didn't do any research on this actress. My instincts tell me she is not an actress, maybe a model, or maybe porn. I don't know, but every scene with her, there's just this weird, sexy pout going on. Like, even her and the doctor who works on the island and, like, works to help cure the natives of the disease, every look she gives him, it's supposed to be, the subtext is supposed to be like, oh, it's bad, they stole the Barugon egg, they're violating our tribe's customs. No, it looks more like, oh, I hope they don't discover that we're sleeping together. It's creepy sexual. And it's like that with her character through the whole film. Every time she's supposed to be anguished or angry, she looks like she might take off her clothes and just dance right. It's terrible. I'm trying not to be too harsh on her because God knows what these actors were putting up with in the Dai period here. Yeah, like I said, into the second half of the film, it's just clunky. And one of the things that's the clunkiest is our main protagonist, our helicopter pilot, right? He's anguished because he helped take the egg out of the island, and he helped unleash this monster which is just killing people all over the place. And that's a decent character motive. He wants to help find the solution to end Beragon so that he gets some redemption. Classic redemption story, right? Except that every idea that he helps or plays a part in fails for a bunch of stupid and abstract reasons. All those ideas fail, and it's Gamera at the end who has to kill Barugon, and nobody has the thought throughout the course of the end of the film that Gamera is the key to this. It's one of the biggest problems with this film is after Gamera and Barugon have their first fight, Gamera's like frozen and he just kind of freezes and collapses in the city, and like 20 minutes go by. Nobody has the thought to try and help Gamera, thaw Gamera out. He thaws out on his own, shows up out of the blue, drags Beragon into the water, which, yeah, Beragon dies in water. He bleeds in water. Ooh, these movies. But what it does is it completely neutralizes our main protagonist's story arc of him redeeming himself. And then at the end, the last scene is him going, oh God, I've done some terrible things. Why? What a terrible life. And it's like, yeah, dude, you have. You're a miserable, mean, greedy little fuck up. You deserve all the guilt you're feeling right now. And then the native girl, who also has failed to actually help kill Barugon, none of her ideas ended up working. She grabs his hand and says, oh, you're not alone. and suddenly there's like a love interest between them, even though this dude just like fucked your culture and your people over, stole your opal pendant. Oh god. Hold up. So let's move back to Jiger and the plot. Um, yes, we are back to kiddie fair now. Now we've got the kids back in the mix. I will admit and even argue in front of you, I've always thought of this as the strongest entry in the Showa period. Even with the kids. Yes, even with the kids. I know, I know. Um, and I wasn't sure why. I couldn't really place why this film stood out to me so much. Watching both these films a week ago, it kind of clicked. Gamera versus Jiger is better paced. It focuses way more on the monster action. I mean, this film really it hits the ground running, and the script actually structurally holds up so much better than almost any other film in the Showa period does. They introduce elements in the first 5-10 minutes that have consequences throughout the script, throughout the rest of the movie, and then even at the end. Yes, it's a little forced, yes, it's a little sloppy, but they don't forget key elements that they introduced. Whereas Barugon, we introduce like two elements that might be important, and then halfway through the movie, we just throw stuff at you, and it's just supposed to be there and okay. Um, so with Jiger, yes, it's really annoying that we have these kids again. And of course, they have to sit there and just scream Gamera, Gamera, Gamera for like 5 minutes. Every time I'm watching these films, I want to like crawl inside the TV screen and strangle them and be like, you need to save your voice, kid. You shouldn't be screaming right now because chances are in 5 minutes you're going to do something really, really fucking stupid. The monster is going to be like about to eat you any second, and that's when you should actually be screaming for Gamera. Not right now. Okay, that said, I think these are one of the more successful child story arcs, what have you, in a Gamera film. Our two main protagonists, like, I don't know, the French Boy Scout and the kid whose dad invents a submarine for kids, they're a little older. I don't know, like maybe 13, 14 maybe. So it's a little more plausible that they're kind of creative and sneaky. And they are actually creative and sneaky. That's one of the nice things about this film is they don't just randomly happen to fall into situations. They actually like kind of plan and scheme little devices. And the parents should be smarter. The adults should be smarter, but they're not. It's a Gamera film. Everyone is stupid. Everyone is stupid in a Gamera Showa period film. It's done deal. But what I like about them is they're proactive, and as opposed to a lot of the Gamera films where they sit in the corner screaming or crying and doing nothing, or coming up with some solution that obviously the military or scientists should have, they take it upon themselves to be the solution. And we get this kind of subplot in the middle of the movie where they drive the submarine into Gamera's mouth to help get rid of the parasite. And that's actually a very interesting plot element that it's almost surprising it hasn't come up in kaiju films more. I suppose in GMK we have the submarine that like the military general he's swallowed and he drills through Godzilla's shoulder. But that's about it. You could almost do a whole movie. You could do, I mean, was it the Fantastic Voyage or whatever, have people drive into a monster's stomach and explore their organs or something. Mind you, it's not handled well at all. The set looks terrible. The Jiger parasite in Gamera's lung is just clearly the Jiger suit, just chasing after the kids. That said, though, the kids are actually useful. They're not just stupid idiots. They're not just stupid idiots sitting in the corner. And the adult characters also take a moment to reflect on this and notice, like, oh, the kids and their imagination and their ambition and determination, maybe we need a little bit more of that. And I kind of appreciate that in a Gamera film where the kids are always outsmarting the adults, that for once the adults actually sit down and take a moment to notice we could have been smarter. Yeah, you think? Ooh, ooh, these movies. Um, so what I was talking about with the plot elements that they actually sync up nicely. I guess maybe this is one of those points we could compare. There's a lot of similarities in these films. First off, we have this element of the natives of one culture saying, "Don't touch our stuff, leave our island, leave our property alone, don't do it." And then we have the rich Japanese businessmen, for whatever reason. In Beragon, they're criminals. In Jiger, they need the totem pole for their expo event. Um, but they do it anyway, right? And then we also have these, I don't know what you would even call them, like relics, maybe. So Beragon, we have the opal, which ends up being the Barugon egg, right? And then in Jiger, we have the devil's whistle, which is this giant stone statue totem pole. Um, that it's a little clunky, the exposition of it, but it's not as miserable as what we're accustomed to with Gamera films. Initially, they think the pole itself is poison, like you can't touch it, and then later they realize, oh, it's called the devil's whistle. Wonder what that's about. Oh, the wind travels through it and makes a noise that actually makes people sick, and it contained the monster. The noise the devil's whistle makes contains the monster. Not a bad idea, not a terrible premise. But so the devil's whistle is introduced right away at the top of the film. Gamera is trying to stop it from being moved. He fails. And then at the end of the film, he uses it and he spears Jiger in the head. She gets in the skull. She dies. So there you go. Plot element from the beginning. The other plot element being this submarine, which why you would design a submarine for kids is just beyond stupid. But okay, I mean, when I was watching the film the first time, I'm sitting there thinking, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But then it actually works into the plot later. They didn't just throw it out there to be dumb for a moment. It actually has a point and a process. And that's why at the end of the day, I think Jiger just tends to be a more enjoyable film for a lot of reasons. The plot elements sync up in a stronger fashion. The kaiju action is very consistent. I mean, Gamera's on screen in the first like 7-8 minutes, and then like 5 minutes later we have our first monster brawl. 10 minutes later we have another monster brawl. We have the story plot with the kids in Gamera's stomach, and then we're right back to another monster brawl. The action is well paced and a lot better than I think almost any other Gamera film is. So an element I wanted to compare and contrast here was how well is Gamera himself handled in these films. Beragon is clunkier. He shows up at the beginning. We do understand he broke free of the project. Was it Project Z, the rocket ship? They were going to blast him off. The rocket ship like gets hit by an asteroid or some stupid fucking shit happens. He comes back to Earth and he goes for like an electric dam, which makes sense to a degree. We understand Gamera, he just feeds on energy, and it's kind of amorphous. It's not like specifically nuclear energy, it's energy in general. So maybe the electricity from the dam is important. But we never really see him absorb the energy, and then he breaks the dam, like he flies into it. And honestly, it's a spectacular sequence. I will give Beragon, the film Gamera vs. Beragon has more consistent special effects. Absolutely. Some of the model work is good even by Toho standards, and this is one of those shots where Gamera hits the dam breaks, and you see like the water cascading, and it's a great shot. It's well done for its time period. But then Gamera just leaves and then flies into a volcano because the heat of the volcano is an energy source he can consume. So why did he break the dam? What could that do him? It's sloppy and silly. So he shows up. He's attracted to Beragon's rainbow arc. Okay, not bad, not bad. We were at least trying this time. We were at least trying. But then Baragon freezes him, and as I mentioned before, Gamera's just frozen. He's just sitting in the city, frozen. But nobody does anything. Everyone like forgets the whole freaking movie, forgets it's a Gamera film for several moments throughout this movie. It's way more interested in Barugon. And that's okay. Barugon isn't a totally throwaway kaiju, but as far as the point of the film goes, he is the marquee monster here. And that's why I would kind of have to say that Gamera versus Beragon is maybe more successful as just a kaiju film in general. Yes, it's very much a versus film, and some of the structure works as a versus film, but it's sloppy. Whereas Gamera versus Jiger, I would argue, is a stronger versus film and a stronger Gamera film. Gamera shows up right away, and he's trying to prevent the Devil's Tower from being moved. He has a clear objective, he's right there for a reason, and if it wasn't for the idiot humans shooting a bunch of idiot bullets into him, he would have done his job and things would have been fine. And that's one of the nice things too. I mean, that's one of the things that drove me nuts with Gamera versus Zigra and some of these other films is Gamera shows up to help and then doesn't help, and we don't understand why he didn't help. Like, why did he fail so miserably in the first 5 minutes of screen time he got? This film, it makes perfect sense why he failed. And then he's right there, ready to combat Jiger when Jiger appears. And this is again standard for Gamera films. Gamera gets injured badly. Gamera, something messed up happens. He gets like speared all over his body by Gamera gets speared by Jiger's tusks, right? And this is like foreshadowing for like the Legion and the whip thing that it does with Gamera, like body parts. But it's actually a pretty sophisticated sequence that you watch Gamera really struggle for a while to figure out how to get rid of these giant tusks that are lodged in his limbs, because he can't pull in his limbs to do his spinning turtle move. As far as adhering to the universe and the rules of Gamera, it's kind of a smart little maneuver. And then watching Gamera slowly trying to get these things out of his body, and like he knocks it with a rock to get it out of his leg, it's kind of gruesome, and it helps you sympathize with the monster a little. It's one of those small little things that binds you to the character of the monster. And then unlike Barugon, when Jiger poisons Gamera and he turns pasty white and floats in the ocean, the humans sit there and realize we need to help Gamera. And the kids go in and kill the parasite, and then later they go back in again and put like electrical wires in his mouth to like shock his heart, resuscitate him. It's a little bonkers. But again, it's like, at this point in the film series, shouldn't we have figured out that Gamera is the solution to our problems? And so I like it. I think Gamera versus Jiger just does a better job with the character of Gamera, and it pays attention to the fact that Gamera is vital to the plot the whole movie through. Alright, kaiju fans. Like I said, I think these are two of the stronger entries in the Showa period. If you're going to watch Showa Gamera, I would highly recommend both of these films. That said, it's still Showa Gamera. It's painful. It is gut-wrenchingly painful. Some of the dialogue and the shots and some of the effects and just... oh boy, you gotta love the genre to get through these, which I do, so that's okay. Anyway, I guess I'll warn you right now, there'll be no self-indulgent political things at the end of this review, so fans, take a sigh of relief. Where's my clock? I don't have a clock. I don't have a clock? I don't have a clock. I'm about half an hour out. I will be turning 27 very soon. And yeah, I thought, like, go drinking tonight, get plastered. I'll save that for tomorrow night. I'm just fucking tired tonight, and I've been meaning to get to this review. I've been meaning to get to this review because I am like 46 views shy of 1,000 views for the whole channel, not any one video, God knows. But you know what? For like 4 months and how awkward niche my channel is, I feel great about that. So, um, you know, as always, thank you very much to anyone who's subscribing, supporting, watching these, enjoying my rambly discussions of these films, these reviews. Um, if and when we reach 1,000 views, I will be covering the original 1954 Gojira. Um, I think the true godfather of kaiju films is and always will be King Kong, but Kaiji no Kami's busy knocking that out of the ballpark this summer, so I've been waiting for the appropriate moment to dive into the 1954 film, and I think the 1,000 view celebration will be it. So help me out, fans. Click watch away, give me your feedback, give me your comments, your questions, your requests, and hopefully we'll be meeting again very shortly for a film that is so much better than anything in the Gamera Showa period. I can't wait to tackle Ishiro Honda's classic. That's going to be an epic review. Anyway, thank you very much, you guys. Let's do it. I'm signing off from Denver, Colorado. We're the Mile High City. We're getting higher all the time. Oh.